Welcome to Greater Good Radio Hawaii, where leaders inspire leaders. Greater Good Radio Hawaii is dedicated to social entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Evan Leong, and with me is my co-host, Carrie Leong.
Thank you, Evan. Today's guest is Ng Pack. He always dreamt of taking a Hawaiian vacation while growing up in London and New York. He finally did when he decided to take a 6-month sabbatical here. Those 6 months led to a year, 5 years, 10 years, and he's still here. He's worked with Milici Valenti Advertising since 1980 and is now president and CEO with his name included in the company, Milici Valenti Ng Pack. Please welcome to Greater Good Radio, Ng Pack. Welcome to our show, Nick.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
You always dreamt of coming to Hawaii. Why Hawaii?
Well, growing up, I was in New York City, London before that, but New York City since I was 11 years old. And as you can imagine, a big city, it's dull, it's gray, it's crowded, no sunny beaches, no paradise. I watched Hawaii Five-0, and then my dad got a job at United Airlines. And with his travel benefits, I was able to use them while he could. He was too busy working. As a student, I would watch Hawaii Five-0 and then hop on a plane for $28 round trip. Every chance I got, and the more I got here, the more I fell in love with the place. So I finished off school, finished off college, finished off grad school, got a job in New York, and I worked about a year and a half. And then I decided that before I settled down into a job, I was doing really well there, I better get Hawaii out of my system once and for all. So I figured, well, let's take 6 months off and see if this little adventure can be fulfilled, taken out of my system. So I came over here with the intention of staying for 6 months. And as you pointed out, it turned into a year, year and a half, 5 years, 10 years, and here I am 26 years later.
When you initially came and you were staying for 6 months at a time, were you working or was it just play?
Well, I thought I would be playing 80% of the time. I thought working in Hawaii would be a paradise. I would go to work at 9 o'clock in the morning, be finished by 2 o'clock, hit the beach, go play tennis in the afternoon, and enjoy the weekends. Little did I know that working in Hawaii is working in Hawaii. There really is a real industry, an advertising industry, which I didn't think there was at the time, and I didn't think there were really companies, marketers like there were in New York. So I figured it was going to be a 6-month vacation with just a little bit of work to pay the bills.
When you took that 6-month vacation, did you know that it was going to be a working vacation or working sabbatical time?
I knew it would be a working vacation. I knew it would be, again, but I thought it would be light work because I figured here I was the hotshot, up and rising star in New York. Working in Hawaii would be a breeze. I'd show these guys in Hawaii a thing or two about New York advertising.
So when did you make that transition to working for a Hawaii firm?
Well, it was a Hawaii firm because when I first got a job, I took a plane over that one summer. I was on vacation. I interviewed with Milici Valenti, with Frank Valenti. And this was 1980, summer of 1980, and Hawaii was booming then. And luckily for me, the timing was good, and they needed help in certain areas. So he offered me a job on the spot. I went back to New York and turned in my resignation, and also secured a commitment for a job in 6 months to when I came back. I came out to Hawaii and started working at Milici Valenti, which was actually a subsidiary at that point of a New York agency. So I thought I had all the connections made that I could easily step back into the advertising scene in New York. So it was a local company with New York connections, so it was a real no-brainer of a choice for me.
What kept you here in Hawaii?
Well, when I first got here, I almost didn't stay. I realized I didn't have the free time I thought I would. It was work. It was 8 o'clock, not 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock starting time till 5, 6, 7 sometimes, and it was hard work. In New York, it was a much bigger company, and I had other departments doing different types of work. In Hawaii, it was a large agency in Hawaii, but small compared to New York standards, and you had to be a jack of all trades. You did everything. And I found myself doing tasks that I was not used to at all. And after about 2 months or so, I thought, you know, this is not what I intended to do. I'm not out there surfing, playing tennis, doing the things I planned to do when I came out here. So I almost went back to New York after about 2 or 3 months, but I had to talk to my supervisor, and he started laying out a plan for me as to what the possibilities were. And I changed assignments and accounts, and actually I started working for Hawaiian Bank, which turned out to be the most important account at the agency. and that was actually my stepping stone to the rest of my life in Hawaii.
Did you bring that account into the company, or was it already there?
It was already there, but it turned out that it had the most varied level of activities and the most important connections in this town, and that was what was probably the most important thing for my career.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.